I literally would not be a walking, talking, breathing being had it not been for the Lord putting Megan in my life.
Amen.
I was completely abandoned.
You just love me the way I need to be loved.
Oh, you trying to get the eyes welled up in here. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
I love a good cancellation story. I love it. I really do.
This is getting crazy. Megan has not spoken about this, but one of the most heartbreaking things for me was, we're going to this thing, and then we get blanked. One thing that really angers me, actually, like I'm actually still angry about it, is
Megan, you didn't have to get in the fire, right? But you did. Is that the fearlessness? Is that the compassion?
I was still upset at God. Part of me was like, you bamboozled me. I'm mad at you. Like, I did this, I did that, I did this. You knew that this was my greatest fear, that my mom and dad divorced after 10 years. I want to trust you and I have no choice but to trust you, but I'm struggling with how to ever see anything the same anymore. Like, I was like, Lord, am I supposed to be here? And I just heard God say yes. You said yes, then I'm not afraid of nothing. Coretta, you damn right. Absolutely, positively, period.
The Black community is very forgiving, but when your circumstance is with someone outside of the Black community, like, whatever, should have been over here. Faith community can be very fickle. So as soon as you do something irreligious, they're like, throw him to the wolves. Then you've got this professional community it's not a community, it's business. Like, you're not good for business anymore, throw him away. How important has Megan been?
I mean, she is just my biggest blessing. With Megan, it is.
I love you, baby.
I love you too, girl.
This is The Deep End with Lecrae.
What's going on, everybody? It's Lecrae, and welcome to the workshop. The workshop is a place where you guys can understand my thought process. You guys are going to be able to unpack and dig into some of the old albums, some of the last several albums that I've done. And on top of that, it's a place where you're going to hear new music and some surprises. Make sure you stay tapped in. Let's build together. See you on the other side.
All right. Now, I never read intros because that's just not how I roll. I usually just start talking, but not today because it's too much. So I wrote a whole intro. I did this because this is a special one. We got a couple powerful forces in film and culture, each with a story marked by talent, resilience, and purpose. One of our guests has been gracing the screen since childhood, evolved into like one of the most beloved actresses of our generation. We've seen her, we've grown up with her. She's brought beauty, depth, and strength to every role I've been paying attention to. I've been watching these films, so I've seen it. Off the screen, she's equally known for authenticity, for faith, for being a voice for women who are navigating love and identity and healing. And he is a commanding presence in the cinematic landscape, whether it's The Last Black Man in San Francisco, which is one of my favorite movies, by the way. Not even capping, just telling the truth. Or Creed 3, whatever it may be. He's an artist of intensity. The brother got range. If you know acting, range. He's got range. But together, they represent more than a bunch of Hollywood credits. Their journey, individually and now as a couple, is a living story of reconstruction, of growth, and of grace in the public eye. And I am honored to have them, my sister, Meagan Good, my brother, Jonathan Majors.
Respect.
I wrote that for y'all. I did that. That's the first time I ever did it because it's for two people. And I love y'all, man. So I'm a fan and a friend. It's a mix of all of that.
Exciting.
It's a mix of all of that.
Mostly a brother.
Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm overjoyed. There's so many places to go with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just a million places to go. Like, even our initial conversation, I could tell, like, I was like, oh, there's a million different directions to go. I got tons of questions. I'm just curious. But I know, like, for the world who's watching y'all, they're on like page 2 because y'all are public figures and like, hey, y'all, this is what our life looks like right now. And they're like on page 2. You guys are probably on page 585, something along those lines. So like I wanna catch people up into your world and what's going on, but I also want to rewind the tape because like y'all are, you know, have merged into this relationship and you both experienced a lot of stuff historically, historical traumas, family stuff, divorce, whatever the case may be. I want to know, like, before y'all were married, before you knew about, there was marriage in your eyes, when you were just like 22, 19, 18, what did you think about marriage? What was your perspective? What was your mindset? And then how has it shifted today?
Ooh, you go first, babe. You wanna go first?
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah.
That was a husband, yes, wife, I'll go first. So I come from my mother and father divorced when I was about 9 years old. I am one of three. I'm the middle son. I love you, Monica. I love you, Cameron. I love you, Mama. And I love my father, you know. My perspective on marriage was, it's what people did. You know, it's what old folks did. It was what my grandfather and grandmother did. For me, that was the greatest example of marriage. You know, I watched my maternal grandfather, Big Andy, and Polly, my grandmama, really build a life together. And I think the echoes of their relationship I heard from my uncle and my mother. You know, how my grandfather went off to war, you know, and my grandmother stayed at the farm, you know, or before the farm, you know, stayed wherever they were and held it down. And he then came home and ended up buying the property that my maternal grandmother's family used to sharecrop, and the historic legacy that he began to build for our family. And it was always Big Andy and Polly, you know, Andy and Steen. And that was something that was the clearest example. And to me, I thought that's what, if I were to get married, that's what I would want to have. And so it represented to me like this real strong team, you know, this coupling of two people that were in many ways extremely different. You know, the men in my family have a habit. There's these big, tall men that marry these little bitty women, you know.
Okay.
And
just keeping the tradition.
It wasn't on purpose, but it worked out, you know. And they supported each other, and they loved each other, and it was sacrifice. And the big thing that connected them always was the family, the children, and their faith, our faith, God. You know, it was always in the center of it. So my perspective at 18, 19 years old was, if I were ever to, this is kind of what I would aim for, you know.
So you had a pretty healthy picture in terms of like teamwork and solidarity.
Yeah. And it's different with, you know, with my mom and my father, because that didn't go well at all. And then my mother, who is a minister, is a pastor, you know, she has been married, you know, multiple times. You know what I mean? And so I can kind of look at that perspective, but I was blessed to see that as a man.
Yeah. You saw the highs and the lows.
Yeah, I was grown when I was watching her kind of move through that. I had a stepfather come in who I love to death. And I actually saw how that didn't work, you know.
That's good. Yeah.
Respect.
Meagan?
Well, my mom and dad divorced they separated when I was 4, and then divorced probably officially when I was like 10. And then my mom got remarried when I was 11. And I think for me, growing up, you know, seeing my mom in the beginning really struggle with the separation, and to see how in love she was, and to see the heartbreak, and to remember the Marvin Gaye in the middle of the night. And like, I just thought I never want to go through that. And I had this mentality, especially at 19, like, I'll never put myself in that position to ever experience that. And so I think at that time, I was not opposed to marriage, but opposed to giving so much of myself that I could potentially lose myself. And then if And when it doesn't work out, then I will struggle to put the pieces back together. And I just thought I could never struggle to put the pieces back together. And so, I mean, in hindsight, we could talk about the revelation in the long run, but I always decided that when I did get married, I would never get a divorce. I didn't want to go through divorce the way I'd seen my mom go through it. And so my mentality was very much that. And again, in hindsight, that's not the right mentality either, is to stay married just because spiritually you believe and, that's what you're supposed to do. And no matter what, it's got to be right for you and right for the person, you know? So.
And now, in light of all of that, like, when y'all move forward and y'all are making this decision, like, no, well, let's do this. We're going to get married. Like, what wisdom do you feel like now you're bringing into this situation that I guess, like, what's beneficial for y'all now that you've like, okay, I've seen this. I grew up with this. I saw these pictures. And now here's what is forging something different in this relationship.
Go ahead, baby.
So much. There was no pressure. There was no pressure.
Amen.
Okay.
I didn't feel like I failed before. I feel like I learned before. And because there was no fear, the worst had already happened in my mind at that time, there suddenly was this freedom for me to, when Jonathan and I got together, there was a lot of things for both of us to be very afraid of, you know, and very concerned with, and to, anything, from traumatic attachment to whatever it may be. Yeah. And I just had zero fear. I just was so fully aware of who I am, even the stuff that I was still struggling with and walking through. And I'm a pretty fearless person by nature, but it was even more like a knowingness about him, a knowingness about me, no fear of failing, only fear of getting the best that God has for me. Seeing myself in areas and ways that I had grown, and realizing that some of the things along the way that where I was so fearful about in terms of losing myself, that with the person, that for whoever that we're supposed to be with, you won't lose yourself. You don't have to even change. You only become better. You grow and you evolve. And that's a blessing and a gift. And so I think my mentality was different. I think he's completely different. I think I'm completely different. And
different in which way, baby?
Different in which way? I think the biggest thing is no fear.
Okay, I got you.
I think that's the biggest thing. And then with you just love me the way I need to be loved.
You trying to get the eyes welled up in here. Is that what's happening?
Yeah. What are you thinking, baby?
No, I just like to listen. I want to be really clear, on what it is she's saying.
Yeah.
And I think that's right. That Meagan is, you are fearless. And that's some gnarly stuff, especially because where I was at in my life when we met and committed and then got engaged and then got married, and I am not a fearless person. Like one of the things I think about with me and Meagan is that when she says she's fearless, she means it. I experience fear all the time, but I do know I'm extremely brave. And that's where we get together. She's fearless. It's not even there. I got it. I'm feeling all of it. You know what I mean? But I'm going to go. You know what I mean? If anybody's going to go, I'm going to go.
Yeah. You're like, I will fight through the fear. And she's like, what fear?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that is just a great compliment.
Yeah.
Like I think I've not even had because the thing about it is like Meagan and I are actually friends too. You know what I mean? Like I tried to tell her early on in our relationship, I said, I can kiss you, I can, do the sexy, all that stuff, that's cool. But when I give you a fist bump, we're locked in for life. You know what I mean? The first time it was like, she did something, I'm like, yo, respect. And she hit me with that, I was like, okay, it's over now. You know what I mean? Like I got her. You know what I mean? Like I found her, you know, or she found me, or God placed us together, you know?
That's what's sustainable for sure. That's what makes things sustainable. Friendship.
So there's a lot of Christians out there who spend days thinking that they're broken or failing God or failing themselves because they're struggling with these unwanted, distressing thoughts. But this isn't a spiritual failure. It could be due to a very common but overlooked condition called religious OCD. And I'm talking about thoughts that interrupt your worship, right? Am I praying right? Well, God, forgive me if I make a mistake in my prayer. Like, I need to start over. I need to do it perfectly this time. Or maybe a blasphemous image pops in your head and now it's making you feel like you've sinned just for thinking about it. So these unwanted thoughts like that can be a sign of religious OCD, also known as scrupulosity OCD. It's a form of OCD that can turn your faith into a source of constant guilt, doubt, and fear. But because the condition is still very widely misunderstood, a lot of people don't even know that it can show up this way or that it can center around their faith. OCD isn't just about being neat or organized, like the stereotypes might suggest. OCD latches on to what you care about most, causing a cycle of distressing, intrusive thoughts and behaviors done to get rid of the anxiety they create, like praying until it feels just right, or confessing the same sin over and over, trying to solve or figure out your thoughts. But any relief from these behaviors is going to be short-lived. At the end of the day, it's a very common type of OCD, and it's highly treatable with the right kind of specialized therapy. And that's where nocd comes in. nocd is the world's leading OCD treatment provider. All of their licensed therapists are trained in ERP, or exposure and response prevention therapy. It's the most effective treatment for OCD. nocd therapists deeply understand OCD, so they know how these thoughts don't mean anything about you. In live virtual sessions, they'll keep you break-free from OCD's grip of honoring your faith so that you can get back to focusing on what matters most. nocd is covered by insurance for over 155 million Americans, and they provide support between sessions, so you're never going to be alone. And if you think you might be struggling with religious OCD, do not wait. Head over to nocd.com and book a free 15-minute call with their team today. Start reclaiming your faith from OCD. That's nocd.com. I cannot stress this enough. This is more than an ad for me. This is advocacy.
You said something, Meagan, that I'm like, it triggered, because I think a lot of people would say, oh, this is some kind of trauma bonding relationship. And again, people are on page 2. They only know what the tabloids say. They don't know y'all. And you're like, no, this is not like trauma bonding. Like, this is like, we thought through this. We're human beings who've processed this. Like, what was, and it's not like it's your responsibility to have to worry about what everybody else is saying, but did that ever like come into your brain? Like, I'm tired of them saying this, or were you just like, whatever, I'm fine?
I never thought about them saying it. I thought more about, what do we think? And us being conscious and clear on that, you know, and we've both had lots of therapy and, you know, done therapy together, and we've both unpacked a lot. We unpacked things that predated things that predated things that predated things, you know? And I'll never forget, there was one time we had this little argument, and I was so mad at him, and he came in the living room and he sat next to me. He said, you know, we're both kids just walking it out. And like, that just landed in my spirit, because I was like, we're just adults, but we're just kids walking it out, just like our parents are, just like their parents were. And if we can see each other in the purest form and love the fullness of who each other is and commit to walking through all those things without like, making it about trauma, but making it about acceptance and about love and about growth and about why has God allowed us to be in each other's lives, or why has God placed us in each other's lives. And there's certain things that I could only walk through with him where, you know, it's like, I'm very real with myself. It is interesting because sometimes I'll appear not to be real with myself because I don't want to talk to you about it, but I'm very aware of what it is and I'm clear on that. He's probably the only person who I will be very like, Yeah, I know. And then we'll talk about it and I'll be like, oh, you knew that too. Okay, that's what's up, and then I can just really talk to him about it because it is what it is. And it's, the love is either is and it really is, and that's no matter what, or it isn't. But one way or another, the only way to find out is completely trust and completely let go and completely allow that person to help you become the best version of yourself. And like I said, not change, but help you evolve. And then there's a willingness to evolve. That's really exciting, So
Yeah, I like you said what you said to her. We're kids walking it out. It's like I always say we're all just giraffes on ice skates.
Come on, that's good.
Like everyone's pretending, like, look.
Yeah.
And I told my son, I was like, hey, listen, he became a teenager, and I was like, hey, champ, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never raised a teenager, and you've never been one. So we're gonna figure this out together.
That's the most honest thing you can say. Yeah,
Amen.
So I love that. That's been the perspective. John, like knowing a little bit about your story and your history, right? Like growing up, I guess you said you kind of had two options. It was like be a drug dealer or an athlete, and then you didn't do that.
No.
You became an artist.
Yeah.
Why?
Man, I really feel like God has been with me in such a gnarly way for so long, and I've been hard-headed, and he just makes things very clear. You know what I mean? Like the dope dealing and all that stuff, like it was around me, it was easily accessible, My mother was very clear, like we grew up in a very strict household.
Okay.
Extremely. Military, Southern, Christian. I'm the eldest son, like I grew up with I'm a big rule follower, you know what I mean? Like what are the rules? That has to do with bravery. Like and I'm disciplined, you know what I mean? Like almost to a fault sometimes, right? Yeah. But if it says you're gonna lift this weight, that's the weight you lift. You know what I mean? If it says you have to read all these pages, this is what you do. You know what I mean? And so that at such a young age allowed me to go, well, I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? And those in my face, and sports and saxophone were probably the hardest things to kind of step away from. He's not my father, but he's my uncle. You know what I mean? And he's probably one of the reasons why. Well, he is the reason why I committed to acting at the age I did, because he was a ball player. He was a little bit taller than you.
Yeah.
Great ball player. And he came to see one of my games, and he saw me play, and I thought I was doing my thing. You know what I mean? Like I thought I was doing it. You know what I mean? I remember we were doing something, and but I was an actor even then. You know what I mean? Like the ball was going out of bounds, and I grabbed the ball and I threw it, and I fell into the bleachers. Like they do in the movies. You know what I mean? Like they do on ESPN. And we won the game. And I got into the truck with my uncle, and Uncle Chuck said to me, I'm still high on the game, right? He said, listen, nephew. And I said, yes, sir. And this is my ideal form. He smelled good. He smoked cigarettes. He was, had money. Had pretty aunts. He got married a couple times too. You know what I mean? I was like, man, he's a man. I had 2 dogs. Had a chow chow and a Rottweiler. I was like, this is my man.
Oh, this is a formative individual in your life.
This is clearly Uncle Chuck.
It's Uncle Chuck,
Uncle Chuck. He looked over at me smoking his Newports. No, Cools. My stepdad smoked Newports. And he said, listen, nephew. And I said, yes, sir. And I'm thinking he's about to give me the play-by-play. He said, I think it's time to think about something else. I said, what? Did you not just see me do the thing and fall into the thing? He said, yeah. He said, you're good. You are good, but you're not that good. And I wasn't tall. You know what I mean? I was athletic, but I wasn't. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Down home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't speak to him about 4 months.
Oh.
But in that time, the Lord began to work on me. I remember I was in jazz saxophone, and we were playing, and money was tight. And I was like, hey, Mom, why don't you just, pawn the horn, and we pound the horn. I just changed my schedule. You know, we got a little 450. You know, for the saxophone, and then now I'm just playing ball. You know, and then I'm playing ball. My grandfather just passed, and you heard how much our grandfather was important to the alchemy of our family.
Mm-hmm.
Our patriarch. He passed, and I remember coming back. We had to run miles, right? And to be on the team, you had to accumulate a certain amount of miles. Blah 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 blah. Man, I came back from that funeral, and I ran that mile like nobody's business. You know, I think I ran it like 5:15. You know what I mean? I'm in the 10th grade. You know what I mean?
You ran a 5-minute mile?
5:15. Yeah. I mean, no, there were guys that were doing it faster than me, you know, but that was pretty fast for me at the time.
Yeah.
And I came in. I think I may have came in first, or maybe Wesley beat me.
You
Wesley
should have come in first.
Yeah, no, bro, we don't play out there, bro. Like we ran.
No, yeah.
But the story is, I run it. My coaches are like, "Holy smokes!" You know what I mean? I've been playing ball, been in the program. I'm like, holy smokes! And then I sit there, and then we go into the gym. Like, Majors, great run. I'm like, thanks. I'm sitting there, and I've never thrown up, ever. I rarely do. You know what I mean? I never threw up, and I threw up, and I just kept throwing up. I just kept throwing up, and then I heard something say, "It's time to go."
Wow.
And I took my jersey off, left to vomit, but took my jersey out, walked over to Coach Milson. We lost Coach Milson about 5 years ago. Handed my jersey to Coach Milson and said, you know, I think I'm done. Wow. And I walked all the way home and I told my mother that. And she said, oh, okay. You know, you sure, baby? I said, it's over now. I did it, you know. For me, those are conversations, you know. It's the tiny little voice, you know, telling me, hey, move on, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like you were sensitive to, like, God's prompting early. Like, I need to do this.
Yeah,
and just
or I need to not do this.
Or right,
you know?
Correct.
And then acting acting was always there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You saw the performance I'm doing on the court, throwing the ball and landing into the thing. I'm acting. It's dramatic. You know, it's not. I wasn't gonna be LeBron James. You know, not in basketball. Not in basketball.
Sometimes you need that though. Like I had a coach tell me once. He said, "I've coached a lot of great players, and they went on to play professional sports, and I've coached some good players." He said, "Lecrae, you're not great." And I was like, "Oh,
thank you.
It's good to know."
I was like, okay. And, you know, push me on off the ledge as well. I spoke to him again. I didn't leave him out for 4 months.
Right. Well, I mean, my uncle was like, you know, like we had church. I'm just kind of like, you know, one of those, you know, but yeah.
So, Meagan, like, I don't know when we haven't seen you on camera.
Right.
Like, it felt like you've been in front of cameras since you were like a toddler, it feels like.
Well, like 4, but seriously since I was like 11.
Okay. So, my first remembrance of you is like, maybe it was the ice cream truck in Friday. I think that
13.
That was like 13. So wait, was East Bayou younger or older?
14. East Bayou was 14.
So Friday was my first time. But you've been doing it since forever.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is what you were supposed to do? Is this something you were just pushed into? Is this something that you living in LA, it just became a natural part of, like, what's the idea on your end of the spectrum?
It's interesting because 19 was a very informative time for me. So one of the other things that happened when I was 19 was I was in that weird stage of child actor trying to cross over into adult. I was 19, but I looked 15 maybe. Like when I did Roll Bounce, I was playing 16, but I turned 23 on that set.
Oh, wow.
And so I was really struggling with making that transition. And that was the first time that I actually just was like, I haven't even asked you, Lord, like, is this what you have for me? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life? Because if you say no, then as sad as I'll be, I trust you to lead me into something else. That's where I should be. But if you say yes, then I don't care how much rejection. I don't care who tells me no. I don't care who doesn't believe in me. I know I'm where I'm supposed to be. And so in that prayer time, I literally just was like, it was the first time I said, Lord, I just lay it on the altar. And I did. And I got that confirmation. And God said to me, this is what you're supposed to be doing, but it's not about you. And I forget exactly the way that, in essence, that as I grew, God would continue to reveal to me how he wanted me to use what he was giving me in this. And And that's why, like, we talk about this a lot. Like, I don't believe in competition. Like, you know, it's like I see other women who could be more talented than me, you know, more beautiful, more this or that. I could care less because I'm me. And I know what I bring, and I know who God says I am, and who everybody else ain't got nothing to do with that for me.
She really means
and also,
It's wild.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah, it's
and
cool.
then also, I want to see them win. You know, I want to see a Dominic Fishback win. I want to see, you know, Journey win. I want to see, you know, Kiki win. Like, I want to see them win. And I mean that from my heart, not because I should, but because I really mean it, you know? And so along the way, I've learned that it isn't about me. It's about what I can give back and how God wants me to use, how God wants to use me, and how God wants me to represent him. And even with that, I struggle because I'm like, well, I wouldn't say I'm the typical Christian, you know. I can be very religious about some things, honestly, but I can be extremely liberal about other things, you know, and just allowing God to help me navigate that and understand that even that is a part of how God is using me to bless somebody else, you know, using me as a vessel to bless someone who feels like the outcast and the rebel and the this and the that. You are, and God wants you to be. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's been a lot of where I felt a lot of mutual, like, where our brother-sister connection has come in, because it's like, I catch flack all the time. You're supposed to be a Christian, Lecrae. Like, I am, but not the way you have it scripted out. And
not the way you want me to be, but the way God wants me to be.
There you go. I love that. I love that. I'm curious, you know, this might be a question for both of you, but definitely, well, it is a question for both of you. Like, you're public figures, like very public, like as public can get, right? And so much of your life is on the front page of everything. It's like all over the media. For you, Meagan, I'm curious, like, going through a public divorce from another public figure and everybody in your business, like, how do you navigate that? What is happening? You know, because I feel like I've resolved in certain circumstances where my business was in the streets to either A, like, yep, that's what happened, or B, like, I don't owe y'all anything, so I'm not. This is my life, and I don't owe you this. But I've kind of, sometimes I'm super transparent, like, whatever, man, I don't care. And sometimes I'm like, I don't owe y'all any explanation for this. And I'm just curious, like, how you've navigated that personally.
It's been a journey.
Okay.
I could say at like 19, 21, when like Media Takeout first came out. And I would see, you know, 100 nice things, and I'd see like the 2 negative things, like, oh, she's this or she's that. And I'm like, but I'm not. And like, I would cry and my feelings would get so hurt. I would get heartbroken. And then, you know, from that, more of social media and, you know, Facebook and MySpace and all the things. And as it developed, I still struggled with that in every season, where I was like, why do some people think that I'm someone that I'm not? And then, wait, why am I giving so much attention to the negativity when that's a small fraction in comparison to all the positivity and love? And then if I look at the people who I'm, you know, in community with, they're all people I love and respect and admire, and they're saying the same kind of things about them. So why am I taking this so personal? And I could understand with maturity that the majority of the things that people say have nothing to do with me. That actually is a lot of projecting of other people's trauma, their issues, their abuses, the things that they've been in. And I had enough maturity in a certain amount of time to go, okay, I can at least put that where it belongs, but it still hurts, you know? And then when I did get married, the church community, that was absolutely devastating for me. Like the situation with the blue dress, the BET Awards, I mean, the way I was dragged on the internet and the things that I was called, and not by other people, by the church community, by Christians. I was just like, y'all supposed to be my safe place. And I was like, Lord, you know, it's like, you know my heart. You know what was in my mind. You know what was in my spirit. I'm also not going to change the way that I'm dressing because you haven't asked me to. I don't have any conviction about that. Maybe I will at some point, but at this point, I'm concerned with things that I think are a lot more important. But not to exclude that not being important for someone. That's just not what God has put on me. And so I was just like, what do I, you know, how do I navigate this? And I prayed for years. and years and years. When I tell you without fail for like 7, 8, 9 years, like, Lord, please relieve me of the feeling of being so concerned with what other people think about me. Let me only be concerned with what you know about me. And everybody who knows what they know about me are my people in my tribe. And everybody who doesn't feel that way, I can still love them. They can even still be the tribe outside the tribe. God bless them. And not just like, well, God bless them. No, really, God bless them, you know? And just help me get there. And I've told him this, like, when I went through this ordeal, when this woman, in essence, bleached my skin. And she was an unlicensed esthetician. And at the time, I didn't know that. And she messed my skin up really bad. And for someone like me, who I've built a lot of my career, like, yes, I think I'm a good actress, but a lot of it has come from my skin, like all the things in between. And I felt like someone completely damaged me and potentially damaged my career. I thought, what if my skin never goes back? I thought about every little girl who must be looking at me thinking, oh, she doesn't love herself. Or every little brown-skinned girl who's been told that she's ugly, or this or that grew up with me watching Nickelodeon or whatever it is. And I was just so embarrassed. I was so mortified. I was like, I would never do this to myself. I love my brown skin, and I love the skin that I'm in. I love myself. I was on the tail end of it, or the mid part of it during COVID. And I was just like praying one day, and I was like crying. I was like, Lord, you knew I was going to go through this in my late 30s. Like, why? Like, help me understand. And is my skin ever going to get fixed? And in that prayer time, I'm like crying out to Lord. And I just like felt this feeling of just peace. And it was like, oh, you answered my prayer. There's nothing I can do. I can't get on the internet and defend myself. I can't change anyone's mind. I can't do anything to change this situation. I just have to sit in it, and I just have to accept it. And I still have to move on with my life, and I still have to be happy in my skin and love me. So what everyone thinks, I have to just let that go. Otherwise, I'm going to be miserable, you know? And so in that freedom of just going, okay, none of that actually matters at all. Doesn't matter if it comes back. Doesn't matter what people think. I'm still me, and you know who I am, and I'm still going to be used. That's it. That's all that matters. And then right after I came to that revelation and that got lifted off me is when my skin started to come back. And I was like, okay. So, but after that ordeal, you know, and it may sound vain, but it wasn't, because it's very connected to my identity as a Black woman. It just started coming off of me quickly, you know? And then when I went through the divorce, it was like, I know who I am, you know? And I also know this is a good person, you know? And at the end of the day, what happened is what has happened, and I can't be concerned with what anyone thinks they know, you know? And I can't be concerned with who somebody may think that I am, and I don't wish any ill towards him, and I don't wish anybody to think that for him either. I just want to continue to grow, continue to heal, and allow what God wants me to learn and receive and take from this make me better, so that when, you know, I do fall in love again one day, I can be the best that I can be. And I think I'm better for it, you know? And I'm actually really thankful, because I do feel like a pretty kick-ass wife now. And I do feel like I'm able to give love a different way. I think I'm able to receive love a different way. And then I also just don't care what anybody thinks. You know, I'm like, Lord, as long as you tell me where to go and how to do it, thank you, baby, then it's going to be what it's going to be. All I got to do is look that way. So
you sound like a person who has not just gone to therapy, but done the work. Like, you sound like you've done the work. You can always hear, I've done the work. So I can always hear when someone's like, yeah, I didn't just show up for my session. I've had to heal. I've done the healing work internally.
Been on the floor, under the bed. And then some more. Then we got together. There were things I didn't even know.
I think that's extremely powerful. And I want to provide, not because you need it, but just as an encouragement, context, because a lot of people don't understand that they kind of live in their bubble. They don't navigate culture. You're in culture. You're creating culture every day.
Right.
And because of that, there there are different things you're navigating that the average person's not having to navigate. And they may think it's frivolous or meaningless, but you're looking at it from a whole different perspective. As a culture creator, your skin, for instance, is like, no, I'm a culture creator. I have people looking at me, seeing me as the embodiment of a successful Black woman and so on and so forth. And so that does matter. It's not vanity, it's sanity in a lot of ways.
Amen.
So I love the way you frame that. And then, I mean, the dress, they killed my wife, her first BET Awards. And it was like, oh my, it's above her knees. And I was just like, y'all are out of control. So that's a whole nother conversation, and it's fine.
Look, I'm ready to get into it anytime you want to.
So ugly.
That's another conversation. But I've experienced the church hurt, and I've also been canceled multiple times.
Right.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
I've been canceled multiple times for multiple reasons.
Congratulations.
And what I've had to learn is that you cannot cancel God's plans.
Amen.
So, so I love a good cancellation story. You know, I love it. I really do, because
This is getting crazy.
I love a good cancellation. The reason, like, my next album is called Reconstruction because, and I don't mean to, belabor the point, but my good buddy Mike D was in his backyard taking apart a treehouse, and he made the point of saying, I didn't demolish it. I gently took the pieces of wood out because I was going to reconstruct something. I was going to use it again. And oftentimes God starts removing pieces and taking things apart, but not so people can like blow it up and step on it and do all these things. Is so that this stuff has to be reused. And I think people get excited about demolition, like kill them, mob mentality, stone them, instead of saying, wait, how can we help them? How can we be gentle so that they can continue to be used? Like, they have no purpose for you after something happens, right? And I think it's very telling of where we are as a society, right? That mob mentality. But I do want to talk because in many ways, people would consider different areas of your world having experienced cancellation, so to speak, right? Sometimes it's socially, it's emotionally, it's relationally, it's professionally, culturally, and I've experienced probably all of them. But I'm curious, like, were there any specific areas you felt rejection in, and it was kind of like, man, these, like, wow, like I'd expect it from here.
The only place there wasn't rejection, I got it, and then we got it from all sides. No, I'm going to speak to this. The one place I didn't expect to feel it was through my partner and then through my wife. Meagan has not spoken about this, but I'm brave. We talked about that, and I'm tough. You know what I mean, and whatever, right? But one thing I did not anticipate, and one thing that really angers me, actually, like I'm actually still angry about it, is the people and the corporations and the cowards that tried to punish my wife for loving her partner and then husband. One of the most heartbreaking things for me was, oh, we're going to this thing, and then we get blanked. Or, I mean, look, I'm just through with it. I'm really through with it. Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
because you don't want to see someone else hurt.
Like, how dare you? That's not how this goes. You know what I mean? If somebody makes a mistake, right, or is perceived to make a mistake, you can't punish the homie because this or their wife, especially not their wife, and then to lie about it. Cowardice. That I never have patience for that. Through my therapy and all my work, I still do not have patience for that. A coward is no good, and I pray for him. Yeah, and there are places not within my immediate family, but within my family where they got caught up in the mob mentality and attempted and continue to try to hurt, and maim, That stuff is gnarly, As far as culture, Like as far as the homies and, you know, work. I went to high school. You know what I mean? I made it through high school. Like, I know what it is to be picked on. I know what it is to be bullied. I know what it is to sit at the, you know, the chump table or all that stuff. You know, not get picked for the team, you know, that's fine. You know, like I've always been off to the left. You know, even with all the clubs I was a part, Ivy League, drama school, the academy, Hollywood. I've always been off to the left. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, I'm peculiar in that way. You know, I mean, I've always been, you know, and the Lord has made me very comfortable with that, you know? So when it comes to, just to tap on the point you're talking about, like the commentary, that never bothered me. You know what I mean? And I never had an appetite to look, you know, I'm just not built that way. You know, I don't really, it's not that I don't care, it's just my interest is not in what was. It is in what is. You know?
Presence.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, you talking about something that was there, and with all due respect, that's between you and you. You know, you just screamed in a vacuum. You know? if you really mean it, you know where I'm at.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Don't get me started.
Like, I'm being real.
Don't
You know
get
what I
me
mean?
started.
Like, but it goes both ways. Like, if you really love me, show it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you really got a problem, you know.
Yeah.
If you know, it's funny, man. I feel like, yeah. I mean, there's one more thing I want to touch on, but it's okay. I believe it. Am I okay? I'm doing okay?
You're okay, baby.
You did great.
Yeah.
Listen, if I was a publicist, I'd be like, good job. But sincerely, I think you said something, and I think that's very interesting because as I backtrack, most people have a corner that like at least one little amen corner, and I feel like, you know, like there's some support group that, you know, you become a martyr for an ideology or a group in some sense. But then you have this little, you know, this corner, like we see the Sydney Sweeney stuff going on and all kind of other stuff. And it feels like if you apply that framework to your situation, it didn't exist.
It was not there.
Right? It didn't because...
Oh, hey there. I'm Lecrae. Now, I know you probably think this is going to be a podcast episode for the deep, but it's not. So for all of you who are planning on swimming in the deep end, come a little closer. What you may not know is that I'm a rapper. And if you didn't know I was a rapper, you may have never been to any of my shows. So when I go on tour, you might see a little bit of this. Or you might see a little bit of that. It'll be a good time. Because, I mean, I'm a rapper.
Probably think I do this for the pesos. I just preach the message, I can't say so.
Generally speaking, the Black community is very forgiving. But when your circumstance is with someone outside of the Black community, like, whatever, should have been over here. You know? And then I don't think people in the faith community can be very fickle. So as soon as you do something irreligious, they're like, oh, throw him to the wolves. Then you've got this professional community it's not a community, it's business. And they're like, oh, you're not good for business anymore, throw him away. And I do think that's very interesting. Like that is a very lonely place. You know what I mean? And I admire your resilience. I actually celebrate this in a lot of ways. And the reason why is because I love a good cancellation story because I love a comeback story. And I think that's what God writes in scripture. Like, I love the prodigal son story. It's beautiful. It's like this man was in Vegas with hookers and prostitutes and he gets to come home. Or King David, it's like, you know, it's like, no, this is a man after God's heart. Like, it's the internal thing that God sees. And yet we as people are like, nah, he went off the line here, or she messed up here. We don't like this, and they throw you away. So I'm curious, like, how important has Meagan been to your journey of like solidarity and processing like all these corners being non-existent?
Don't look at me.
Sorry, baby.
No, Meagan has been and continues to be, I mean, she is just my biggest blessing. And there are things that she has witnessed and things that she has given, because I didn't know. I was completely abandoned. You know what I mean? Like, and even if you spoke to me, you didn't speak to me. You spoke to this idea, and you spoke to this thing, and it was really more about you than it was about me. And I didn't care because you were just talking to me. But with Meagan, it is.
I love you, baby.
I love you too, girl. It's very important to answer the question. It was very important because she helped me. I could test it. You know what I mean? I could go, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. You know, what do you think about that? You know, and she would answer, and she would continue to show up, you know, because it's like, you're so lonely, you know what I mean? And you're so ashamed, you know, and you're trying so hard not to play the role that everyone's telling you should play, you know? And she allowed me to continue to write my narrative, you know, and to not succumb to the evil that, like, cancellation culture is not they throwing you away, they're damning you, right? They're damning you, they're damning your seed, they're damning your partners, they're damning your associates. For whatever reason, that's what they're doing. And for Meagan to be my water in hell, my ladder in hell, you know, my light in the dark, you know. I mean, I've said it many times, like, I literally would not be a walking, talking, breathing being had it not been for the Lord putting Meagan in my life.
Amen.
And that's just what it is. You know what I mean? You all right? Oh, man, what you doing?
Can we get some?
What you doing?
Some tissue over here, please.
I was trying not to.
No, you don't understand how much I get it.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Because I've been there. And if my wife was not the rock, the solidarity, the place I could go when it was just like, where else do you turn? You need a community of people. And it's like everyone is seemingly just looked sideways. So
Thank you.
It's just the most No.
Yeah.
You need one, Papa?
I'm straight. I just used my sleeve.
Thank you. Of course.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah, so I say, like, I just want you, I see you. You know what I mean? And I think people tend to not want to see the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the whole person. And I know, and it's obvious that she sees you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so obvious. And I think people just look at the superficial landscape of it all without realizing, like, these are humans. These are dynamic people made in the image of God who experience so many different things, who are just as vulnerable to depression, to anxiety, to fear, to disappointment, to hurt. And yet we establish them as so high and lofty that we think we can just throw rocks at them. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so
it's not gonna hurt them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people forget we're also just people.
First and foremost.
You know? First and foremost, not also first and foremost. And we're all just kids walking it out.
Boy, giraffes on ice skates. I'm trying to tell you. And most people are as well.
Yeah.
One of the quotes, I don't know where it came from, but I love it. It's that, you know, one of the highest callings God has given us is to be human. Not to be less than.
Come on.
Not to be more than, right?
Yes.
Don't be subhuman.
Right.
Don't damn people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't be superhuman.
Right.
It's outside of the realm of your possibility.
Right.
be human.
Right.
Period.
And that's what y'all are saying. It's like, we're kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Trying to walk this out. We're human.
And everybody is, like you said.
Yeah.
Not just us, like we all are.
Yeah.
And if we could treat each other with more of that, if we could actually just focus on the one thing that God's asked us to focus on, which is loving each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? No matter how you cut it or where you get it from, that's the command.
Yeah.
If we could do a lot more of that, and then a lot more letting God be God, you know, would we be much happier, and everybody else would be much happier.
Listen,
You know?
it's very simple. Love God, love people,
Yeah.
and go live life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do all that, you're good.
Love your neighbor as you would love yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And this is where it gets gnarly, right? Because I believe everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And I believe that everybody really thinks they're doing that. And so when that comes, I feel so bad for everybody else because they've canceled parts of themselves when they've made mistakes, when they've fallen down.
That's right.
And so they can't have it. We can't have it both ways. You know what I mean? We can't have it both ways. It's like, oh, that's what you do to yourself.
Yeah.
You damn yourself, right? And then you medicate to cover it. Then you blog to cover it.
Ooh.
You know,
Or you condemn.
and you
Someone else
condemn
to
to
cover
cover
it.
it. You know, and I'm not gonna. Everybody here is potentially guilty of that. You know, but there is something about being in the fire. You had Brother Will Smith, right? Man, that's my dog, man. Like we would talk a lot about just sitting in hell by yourself. You know what I mean? Can't nobody save you. You know what I mean? And this is the curriculum, right? And the beautiful thing is like, it's in the Bible.
Right.
You know what I mean? All the homies that messed up, all the homies that fell down, right? They have the lessons. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that, you know, you gotta find yourself in a really bad situation to come out of it better.
Yeah.
But
everyone who did.
I know 12 of them.
That's right.
That really, you know, were in a weird way, you know, and then found themselves being the first Christians, the first true followers of Christ. You know, I'm not trying to martyr myself or sanctify it, you know, but that's the real deal. You know what I mean? I'll leave it at that.
You were talking about what Will said, and even yourself is sitting in the fire. And Meagan, you didn't have to get in the fire, right? But you did. You know what I mean? Like, is that the fearlessness? Is that the compassion? Like, what was it? A both and?
It's interesting. I had said this to him too. I say everything to him. He's my best friend. But at that time, I hadn't prayed a lot. I wasn't, how do I say, to be clear, I wasn't upset at that time because I had already walked through a lot of that with the marriage ending and all of that. I was still upset at God. I was like,
That's real.
a part of me was like, you bamboozled me. I'm mad at you. Like, I did this, I did that, I did this. You knew that this was my greatest fear. You knew that my mom and dad divorced after 10 years. And that's exactly what happened to me. I want to trust you, and I have no choice but to trust you, but I'm struggling with how to ever see anything the same anymore.
Yeah.
And then when it talks about, you know, the in the Bible where it was planted on different parts of the ground, you know, it's like, I don't want to be the one that as soon as it gets tough, it gets strangled out of me, you know? And I was like, so help me, you know? And so I hadn't prayed that much, you know, in a while, really. And when him and I started hanging initially, you know, just spending time together, it was the first time I felt in my spirit. Like, you may not be able to pray for you right now, but you need to pray for him.
Ooh.
And praying for him is what brought me back to prayer.
Wow.
And having conversations on his behalf is what started conversations about my own behalf. And
I'm trying to cry.
And then also just like praying at that time, like I was like, Lord, am I supposed to be here? And I just heard God say yes. And it didn't give me full confirmation of like, you know, forever or anything. Like, it was just like, yes. And I was like, all right, then Lord, I'm just going to trust you and just walk it out. If you said yes, then I'm not afraid of nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like coming through that, through what I felt was the worst at that time, to coming into a different relationship with God that had been tested in a way that I never imagined, to moving into this space and everything that we couldn't have foreseen all that would come with it. But, you know, we knew it wasn't going to be no cakewalk, you know? And just hearing God for the first time in so long, or maybe just listening, you know, for the first time in a long time.
That's good.
And knowing that I was where I was supposed to be made me it just made me positive. I just had nothing, you know, and it's like, you know, there's just nothing anybody could tell me. Once God tells me something, even if I don't know what the end result is, even if the answered prayer is going to be some bleached skin and it's going to be crazy, I know he's going to bring me through on the other side better than when I went in. And that is all part of the journey. And that journey is for the usage, you know, and that is my purpose. And that's who I'm called to be. So at that point, there was no fear.
Yeah.
I was like, y'all better bring it on every single time. Is Coretta, you damn right. Absolutely. Positively. Period. And much respect to Coretta Scott King when I say that, because if people understand the icon that she is, to me, that's, y'all not making fun of me, y'all blessing me. You know what I'm saying? And I aspire to be.
Go, girl.
But I aspire to be something like that. I aspire to be that kind of woman.
Yeah.
And to put that into the world and to use myself to any way that God wants to use me in the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's happening in real time. What I feel like, if you have eyes to witness it, you're seeing two people with scars coming together, and it's a redemption story in a lot of ways, right? And I like scars, because scars are the evidence that wounds heal, right?
Wow.
That's I like scars.
Come on.
It's like I show off my scars, and I feel like I'm very proud of y'all for like embracing that and then moving forward and forging a new path and writing a new history. That is brave. You know, that is fearless in a lot of ways. It's bold, it's encouraging, and then like you guys don't just like fall by the wayside and go skip off happily ever after. Like you guys come back out and say, hey, you know, we're gonna start a business together and we're gonna tell the world about it and we're gonna promote healing and health and like, what was the thought behind that? Tell us about what's happening in this space.
Dope.
You.
All right. So, yeah, I guess it's been about 2 years in the making.
Okay.
So there is now a entity and a real business. It's a fitness, lifestyle, wellness culture, and it's called Honor Culture. Go ahead, baby. Yeah, it's called Honor Culture, and let's talk about it like a character.
Okay.
Right? The character of Honor Culture, the objective, right, for Honor Culture is to give guidance, give community, give structure, and give access to the greatest, deepest part of yourself as an individual. Okay, that's actually what my scripts look like, and then I start breaking it down so it's playable. So essentially, we've established, we are attempting to and have began to establish.
We're going to, baby.
What's up, baby?
We're going to.
Yeah, I mean it's on now. Like we sold out. You know what I mean? So like
yeah, you did.
We sold out. So, what's a culture, right? A culture is how people think, how people move, how people address one another. You know, it's filled with decorum and understanding. Like there's a culture amongst us as entertainers, as public figures, as members of the same, of all members of the African diaspora. Everyone in this room is a community, and we have a culture because we live in the Western world, right? So Honor Culture is that specific and also that global in that way, right? The epicenter of it started in West Hollywood. in a basement gym. And usually around 4:55
A.M.?
a.m.
Okay.
Which is around the
I was
time.
going to ask for some training help and whatnot, but now I don't know.
Yeah, no, trust me.
My session's at 10.
Trust me.
Okay.
And it was a group of individuals that I was training with. I would show up every day. This is at the height of you're on the cover of the New York Times, and not in the way you used to be. You're here, you're here, you're here, you're here, you're here. You know, I couldn't raise my head up. You know, it's very difficult. I was just beginning to get close and open up to my therapies and began to start searching for other things. And I found myself leaving my bed with my wife and then and then heading to the gym. And in the gym, I began to train and work, and I realized I had all this understanding about the body. I had all this understanding about like making the mind and the spirit work to promote the growth or the changing or the shifting of the body. And I had a buddy in there with me, and then he had a buddy that came, and then she had a buddy that came, and after that, we would just sit and talk. And then sometimes after we would sit and talk, we would go up and have breakfast. And that became the ritual, nonstop. And then I'd come home, and then it'd be another session with Meagan, and then Meagan and Lamaya, our sister. And then our brother-in-law would show up, Eric Bellinger. And then the best friend would show up, Amy Bell, and she would bring her husband, Ricardo Bell, Ricky Bell. Ricardo. It's because when I read his name, sometimes it says Ricardo. We started building this community. And what we found is like, yes, everyone was losing weight, but everybody was happy. Right? Everyone was experiencing joy. Everyone had someone to talk to. We were all coming there with all of our
stuff,
like the detritus of life. You know what I mean? Like all of us in many ways, like probably 50-50 from the entertainment industry or just from life or just, just a human being coming in there and having that community. And I thought there's got to be a way, me and Meagan thought there's got to be a way to bottle this up, right? And get it out to folks, and of course, the culture, right? Like how we move, how we talk, the mantras, these things are not to be prescribed, right? But they are things that you can take, right? Very much like drama school, right? You take what works, you leave what doesn't. But what we're offering is a cornucopia, right, of ways in to yourself. Right, we believe in 4 pillars.
He went to Yale, y'all. He said cornucopia. Don't you know that?
What we offer is 4 pillars, right, of growth at Honor Culture. Social, that's the culture. Physical, that's the body. Mental, that's the brain, right? And then all that is nutrition, right? That's the body. And so we're trying to educate, right? And just give information, not teach anything, but give information, right? And as you get that information, maybe you'll do better. Maybe you'll understand yourself more. Because the last thing I'll say is that they try to separate us in so many ways, right? And then what do? We separate ourselves, right? You got guys who just work the body, but their mind's not right, right? People that think, oh, if you work your body, you're dummy, or if you only work your mind, you're soft. You know what I mean? Like, no. All these things are connected. I'm not asking you to walk around looking like me or walk around looking like Meagan. I want you to look like the best version of yourself. Our goal is for you to honor yourself. And we're gonna give you some apparel that you can wear and make you feel good, right? And the apparel is made honorably in the same way, made right here in Los Angeles. I'm in my CEO chat. I'm gonna pull out.
No. I like what you're saying. What I hear you saying is it's about integration. Yes. Right? It's integration. It's you're not separate entities. You're living integrated. Yes. And in Honor Culture is more than just apparel. The apparel is more of a flag.
Come on.
That says, hey, we are passionate about living integrated lives where we are honoring one another, honoring the wholeness of who we are. And I'm your brand ambassador.
Yes.
I just love it.
Yeah,
though.
we had to get you.
It was like, that's
I'm your brand ambassador.
exactly
I
it.
got you.
That's exactly
It's all
right.
good. You know,
That's
I'm
exactly
your brand ambassador. It's sold out before I get to it, so it's fine. I'll show up at your house.
Extra large.
Yes.
I just want to add one thing too. Like earlier, you had asked me if I had been on a consistent journey of working out, and I was saying like, yeah, since I was like 35, like yes, I've been working out pretty consistently. This program is different than anything I've ever done before. And the reason that it's different is, and this is kind of always a part of how I describe it, is, you know, when he talked about the community and everybody coming in and bringing, you know, their stuff in a way, there are things that you can't get off in enough therapy. You know, there's some things that only prayer can do. But even like with prayer, there's things that God will have us to do to release it, like anointing oil or, you know, or something. If you may want to go, you know, put that whatever in the water in the beach and let it flow, you know, it's like you don't need to do that for that to happen, but you need that for it to connect to your brain and to your body. And so this type of workout, so many of us found that at the end of it, in the beginning, things were coming off of us that we just sat there in the middle of the floor and just cried. And we were just like hugging each other, and things that people, you know, like Jim Brown is my godfather. And he had just passed away, you know. And so Monique Brown started coming and bringing, you know, Eris Brown and Morgan Brown, which is Eris' two youngest kids.
Eris and Morgan.
They're beasts, by the way.
They're beast. Shout out Eris.
Yeah, shout out Morgan. And Mo. We got Mo. Mo's a special human being.
And Pope.
And Pope. Pope is Bishop's brother.
Okay.
Bishop is our dog. We talked
Bishop
about
is
it
our
before.
dog,
Yeah,
yes.
Got you.
So, but the things that you hold inside yourself that it's like you can't say it enough. You can't talk about it enough. You can't, it just has to come out of you a certain way. And that's what this workout for me has been extremely healing and has taken away a lot of it's brought a lot of good juice and joy and whatever out of my heart, and my spirit has made every single day just better and made me more equipped for life in general. So I do feel like I'm truly honoring myself. And I do feel like everybody who's become a part of it is honoring themselves, and we want to honor them. So
that's really great.
Yeah.
I feel like you know, specifically like in a religious community too, like neuroscience is catching up to the Bible in a lot of ways. Like renew your mind daily. That's in the Bible. So it's like, what do you do to renew your mind? Like in ancient biblical times, they walked everywhere. They had a really great diet. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of helpful things that they processed. And, you know, I wrestled with a severe episode of depression, and my therapist at the time was like, hey, you need to get in here and do this therapy and do all this work, but then you need to get in the gym. And then I started, and it was probably the most healing part of my journey was the exercise. And I didn't realize that. So, you know, so salute, hats off.
Thank you, brother. I too suffer from severe depression, diagnosed. And this is a part of my regimen. You know what I mean? Like, who were we just? Cornell West was like cracked vessel. I'm a cracked vessel. You know what I mean? And I was like,
amazing.
I was like, yeah, me too, bro. Me too. You know, like, but the body, right? Like that's one thing we all have in common. We all got different amount in our bank account. We all, you know, have different hair on our head. We all walk around in different, you know, meat sacks, right? But we all have one. You know what I mean? And without a shadow of a doubt, you're gonna carry it in you, right? Like there's a book, The Body Keeps the Score.
I read that.
Right? Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. It's just it's the lexicon, right? We just start with that, you know? And there is something about, and I have two things. I think we're at time. I feel like you're about to wrap us up.
No, listen, we're here.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's something about accessing the body, right? Because the world hits you and then you change the way you move, right? And if you can open it up, right, and make it free, if you can experience your strength, so much confidence can come, right? And so much pain is locked in there. And it's not a sore ankle, right? Sore ankle or tore. No, it's the fact that your dad left when you were 9, that you were touched. You know, you walked that way because you were touched, you know, from this age to this age, and you haven't spoken about it. You know what I mean? And the body will tell you. And it's communicating that to you. And through the gym and through community like this, you begin to access it, right? And so we get to what the Greeks call the toukalon, right? The ideal form, right? And that's what we want to be. We want to be the ideal form of ourselves, right? If we're made in the image of God, let's be the best version of that image, right? And then the final thing I'll say, why it came to us and why I'm so happy that the Lord speaks to you in the language that you know, right? And I would be remiss to not touch on that because we are creators, right? All of us are here are creators. So it makes sense that the Lord would touch career, right? With public figure, would touch our career in a way that would make us transform ourselves. Because that's the dialogue we understand, right? If you were to touch our families, that would also change the dynamic, would change a part of me, but you're speaking to me through the thing that you put in me. You know what I mean? And like, art is an incredibly important part of my life, and so is wellness, you know, and so that's the gift that I think we're trying to really give. The career will take care of itself. You know what I mean? I'll continue to make work, she'll continue to make work, and that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. But with honor culture, it's like, it is in many ways a ministry, right? Very much like the acting as a ministry. And the last thing I'll say about honor culture, Luke 32 verse 22 is written very, very, very tiny on our website, and it's a quick chat, almost like a text that Jesus is sending to Simon, right? And he says quite simply, he says, "But I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith will not fail, and when you depart from me, strengthen your brothers," right? Or sisters. You know, that is the core of honor culture, right? You experience the time, you allow yourself to be changed and shifted by the work, but it doesn't stop there. You have to go strengthen your brother. You have to go strengthen your sister. And so, we're just getting started. But it's going pretty well.
What a start. You're sold out.
God is good.
So, okay, when is the re-up? When do, like, is it, you know, if I go to honorculture.com, like, tomorrow.
You don't got to worry about the re-up, man. We'll look after you.
Take care of you. But we got some cool stuff coming.
Yeah, we got another really drop. Cool. We got a fall, winter drop kind of coming. Yeah. The top and bottom already kind of fall, but.
Okay. I want to be a good brand ambassador, so you're going to have to get me right, bro.
We got you, bro. We got you.
No, I'm talking about in shape. I need to look better.
Bro, you look good.
I'm better than average.
You're better than average.
I'm better than average. But, you know, I want to be the ideal form. What's the Greek word?
I knew you were going to say that.
Toukalon. Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Toukalon, the ideal form.
Toukalon. I'm trying. That's what I'm aiming for, man. That's what I'm aiming for. I mean, I'm blessed, man. Like, I'm encouraged. I feel like I just want to see y'all win. You know what I mean? Like, I hear everything y'all are doing. I hear the heart. And I think it's important to see people. And man, I see you. And I think there's a lot of other people who can see themselves in your story. And, you know, oftentimes that's the case, is they're not the loudest, but they are the ones who are the most impacted. And I'm just going to tell you, in 1,000% transparency, I'm deeply impacted by y'all's journey. Like, personally. It's encouraging, it's deeply impactful. Sometimes you just, there's a lot. I'll share off camera, but there's a lot, you know what I'm saying, that I just feel like, man, thank you, Lord, for broken people that you reconstruct and put together and build new things. You're just not done with folks.
Amen.
And I love that. I support, I salute. I do got a couple questions before we dip up out of here. You know, keep it light.
Okay.
Right. Keep it light. So, y'all, I asked, hey, what do you like to eat? You know, you guys gave me this like very bougie.
Well, first of all, I sent it. What'd I say?
No, it wasn't bougie, but it was very Hollywood. It was like, you know, lean meat, and I'm messing. It wasn't lean,
okay.
but
yeah,
I mean,
it was like chicken rice,
right.
from Air One. Yeah,
It wasn't like
From you gave to the place.
But you didn't.
Because I know you.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I eat.
But
though.
I'm low key being silly. But
Okay.
I am curious. Like, what is y'all's diet? Like, is it like do y'all like being? You have to be fit in your line of work. I mean, you don't have to be, but it's very advantageous for you to be. Like, is it like? Can you spoil yourself at all?
It's balance. We just had marathon burgers yesterday.
Oh, okay.
We did.
Okay.
Straight up.
We did.
So,
Okay.
We did.
That's all I'm
It was also a business meeting.
yeah,
So we
we'll
did
let y'all
have-
know
we did
about
have-
some things.
All right.
Guys working.
Hey.
But yeah, we try. I mean, we try to we try to go,
I
baby.
would say we eat everything.
Yeah.
However, we are calorically woke.
Okay.
There you go, baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're
how's that?
managing your
calorically woke.
Yes.
You're on a deficit consistently,
No,
no.
or you're managing your calories.
we're just aware
Okay.
of what's
Yeah.
going on.
That's
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is like, Meg, you were talking about your prayer life sparking back up. You come from probably a strict religious background.
Yeah.
Like, just on a regular basis, like, what has been like a helpful part of your spiritual journey in this season of life?
First thing before I do anything else, just before I touch my phone, before I do anything, just making sure I just sit up and pray. We sit up and pray in the morning when he leaves at 4.
I sit up and pray.
Yeah, he sits up and pray. He sits up. Well, sometimes I sit up with you, but we pray, and then he goes, and then when I get up for the second round to go meet him at the gym, then I sit up and do another prayer.
Yeah.
So just staying connected, even.
Just making sure it's the first thing. It's just got to be the first thing that starts the day, that everything else follows.
Yeah.
It can't be later. I mean, it can be later, but
Yeah.
I just want to be in the right frame of mind.
That's
and
good.
He just wants to be in the right frame of mind, as well.
What's next? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys there's career, there's honor culture. Like, what are you looking forward to?
We're just trying to have some babies.
Okay.
Just trying to have some kids.
Okay.
We have a beautiful preteen now, but we're looking to have some more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Little honor culture kids running around.
Come
here,
on.
right?
Absolutely.
Honor culture kids wear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get it going.
Yeah.
I'm very blessed. I appreciate y'all. Y'all. Yeah, your level of transparency. I stopped saying vulnerability because I think that my man Jason Wilson said saying vulnerability means you're leaving yourself vulnerable for, like, we want to be transparent, not
Right.
vulnerable. I was like, I like that actually.
I don't mind that. That's
yeah,
good.
so I appreciate your level of transparency, and just your friendship. Just to be a brother, just to be a part of anything y'all have going on. I'm grateful, and thank y'all for blessing us.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for blessing
It's
us.
easy, man. You're so great.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey, listen, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of The Deep End. This episode is brought to you by the Amazing Life Foundation, and I've worked with this team for over a year now. They've helped me produce this show since the beginning. Amazing Life's mission is to help people grow and flourish through high quality content, and I just want to thank them for making this show possible.
This is The Deep End with Lecrae.